This is a PowerPoint presentation of a naturalistic observation reflective presentation on late adulthood. An interview was conducted with a vibrant 82-year-old Caucasian female, and as you will see, the 82-year-old's life theme is out of adversity comes opportunity. The interview was conducted in a home setting around a dining room table, and when asked to describe her family childhood, she described adversity. She had a mean alcoholic father. They were poor. Her mom worked nights, leaving the older sister to take care of the siblings. Very little parental interaction with raising the 5 siblings in all, and 2 had special needs, so very adverse situations while growing up. When asked what significant events have stood out in her life, polio and scarlet fever left her as a young teenager in a dark room and isolated for about a year. She went through 24 hours a day on an iron lung with polio. She did quit school at 16 years old to work and help out with family expenses. At age 18, she was in a near-death automobile accident where a strand of pearls caught on the rearview mirror and basically cut her oxygen off. She ended up surviving that. Later in her 18th year, she got married a gentleman in the Air Force, moved far away from her childhood home, and then that changed a lot. And then within a year, she had a child, and having children, she said, changed her life, and it was taught her she could be strong. Also, her and her husband raised 2 foster children. The father killed the mother and then himself, and so at ages 12 and 13, they fostered these 2 very troubled children and raised them to adulthood, 18. Through all this, through the interview, she showed that she's a model of integrity. According to Cahill and Kavanaugh, if somebody can say their life's been worthwhile and good, and they're glad they lived their lives as they did, that demonstrates integrity over despair. Throughout the interview, she said that she's been married for 63 years, and her husband's still the best thing that ever happened to her. They've raised 3 biological children and 2 foster children. All are contributing members of society. She's happy about maintaining a relationship with her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And when asked, what would you change about your life if you could? And she said, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm a lucky lady. Something that helps her is that her predominant personality trait is agreeable. She's accepting, willing to work with others, and caring. Currently, she serves at senior citizens, serves meals twice a week. She networks with local musicians at a local jam to work as a volunteer. She hosts baby showers for friends' children's, and when somebody is in need, they often call her to lend a hand. Friends, family, they know she'll help out. Her physical and cognitive health is very good. She has regular health checkups, and there's good reports there. She's got a high socio-cognitive functioning. She's a card shark, pinochle, and rummy. She'll challenge anyone to a circle of word race. She stays up and maintains relationships with family and friends. She gets together and plays bunco weekly. She meets regularly with Red Hatters. Loves walking to the grocery store where she can socialize, get a little exercise. The grocery store is about a quarter mile away. also walks regularly. Religion has played an important role in her life. When asked to describe her childhood faith, she said, well, growing up, she was Catholic and went to church every Sunday. She went through catechism and confirmation and attended a Catholic school from elementary through sophomore year until she quit to go to work to help her with family expenses. When asked to describe her faith now, she said as parents, her parents told her she was a Catholic, and now she believes in God, and the song Amazing Grace gives her chills. Marrying a non-Catholic complicated her faith, so faith was a little bit hard at the outset of her marriage. Hughes and Dixon state that interfaith partners, they don't need to share the same faith, but they have to have the same religious orientation to be satisfied with the religious aspects of their marriage. Her agreeable personality helped with coming to common ground with her husband in faith. They agreed they would raise their children as non-Catholic, and their foundation of faith is in Scripture because her and her husband regularly read the Holy Bible together. When asked about coping with loss and how she handled it, she reflected on when her mother was 77 years old, became very sick, was hospitalized, and she could not travel cross-country to go. She couldn't afford to travel across country to see her mom, and she said she'd never forget the sadness in the morning when receiving the phone call her mother had passed. And then she perked up with a smile and said, the sadness became joy that very afternoon when they got the call that their first granddaughter had been born a few hours earlier. And said, the same day I lost my mom, a precious new grandbaby was born. And more than anything, I've learned to accept the circumstances in my life. When asked, how did you learn to accept the circumstances in your life? She said, I learned when things do not turn out good, it's the opportunity to take responsibility for her actions. Sarah Qualls, researcher and author of What Social Relationships Can Do for Health, indicates that the aging population is healthier when engaged in social relationships. The vibrant 82-year-old of this PowerPoint presentation maintains social relationships within the community, family, and friends. Scripture also encourages social engagement. First Thessalonians 5:11 says, therefore encourage each other and build each other up. Qualls presents a challenge. It says, we are surrounded by an insurmountable opportunity. So where do we begin to engage social relationships in building a healthier aging population? Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls down and has no one to help them up. So let's rise together to meet this challenge of engaging the older population in social relationships. Let's get them engaged socially. Thank you for watching this PowerPoint presentation.